Imagine waking up every morning knowing exactly what needs to be done, no hesitation, no confusion, just pure focus. Imagine if every day brought you closer to your biggest goals instead of drowning you in endless distractions. That's the mindset Tracy invites you to build. The first step is learning to face your frog, the hardest, most valuable task of your day. Once you conquer that, momentum takes over. Procrastination fades. Confidence rises. And before long, you start seeing results that once felt impossible. This isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter, training your mind to win the battle against delay, distraction, and doubt. Because in the end, success is not about doing everything, it's about doing the right thing first. Introduction. In a world filled with endless to-do lists, constant distractions, and the pressure to do more with less time, success often belongs not to the smartest or most talented person, but to the one who learns how to act decisively and consistently. Tracy's Eat That Frog is a timeless guide to overcoming procrastination and mastering the art of focus. The frog in the title symbolizes your biggest, most important task, the one you are most likely to delay, but which can create the greatest positive impact in your life once completed. This book isn't just about productivity, it's about clarity, discipline, and personal transformation. It teaches you how to stop wasting time on minor tasks and instead channel your energy into the few things that truly matter. Every chapter is a practical lesson, a tool you can apply today to become more effective, more confident, and more in control of your destiny. So, if you're ready to stop putting things off and finally make real progress, this is where it begins. Because the secret to success is simple. Start your day by eating that frog, and the rest of your day will feel easy. Chapter 1, Set the Table. The first step toward success, according to Tracy, begins not with action but with clarity. Before you rush into doing more, you must know exactly what you're trying to accomplish and why it matters. In this chapter, Tracy compares success to serving a fine meal. Before anyone can enjoy it, you must set the table. The table is your mind, your purpose, and your goals. Most people drift through life reacting to circumstances instead of directing them. They wake up, go to work, check off tasks, and wonder why progress feels hollow. The truth, Tracy says, is simple: you cannot hit a target you can't see. Everything begins with deciding what that target is. Setting the table starts with asking powerful questions. What do I really want in life? What does success look like to me? What would I dare to dream if I knew I could not fail? When you slow down and write your answers, you begin to translate vague desires into specific aims. Tracy insists on writing goals by hand. Because writing activates the mind and makes the goal tangible. A written goal becomes a command to your subconscious, a signal that says, "This matters." Once your goals are clear, the next step is organization. Tracy outlines a simple but powerful 6-step process for setting and achieving any goal. 1. Decide exactly what you want. Don't settle for generalities like, "I want to be successful." Define success in measurable terms: income, health, relationships, learning. 2. Write it down. A goal not written is only a wish. Putting it on paper turns thought into intention. 3. Set a deadline. Goals without deadlines create no urgency. Deadlines ignite energy and focus. 4. Make a list of everything you'll need to do. Break the big goal into smaller, manageable tasks. 5. Organize that list into a plan. Sequence your tasks, decide what must happen first, and outline the order of action. 6. Take immediate action. Momentum begins the moment you act, no matter how small the step. The discipline of clarity transforms uncertainty into confidence. It's the difference between wandering in fog and walking a well-lit path. Tracy reminds readers that every high achiever, in business, sports, or art, begins by setting clear goals and writing them down. Clarity gives you power, direction, and resilience when obstacles appear. He also emphasizes the emotional side of this process. When you know exactly what you want, procrastination loses its grip. You stop feeling overwhelmed because your priorities are visible. You can wake up each day and ask, what's the one thing I can do today that moves me closer to my goal? That question becomes your compass. Setting the table is more than a planning exercise, it's a declaration of purpose. It means you've stopped waiting for life to happen and have chosen to design it instead. When your table is set, your vision defined, your goals written, your plan ready, every action gains meaning. The chapter closes with Tracy's timeless advice: think on paper. Until your dreams are written down, they exist only in imagination. But once they're on paper, they become promises you make to yourself. And keeping those promises, day by day, is how you transform wishful thinking into lasting success. So before you take the first bite of your biggest frog, take time to prepare. Clear the table of distractions. Set it with clarity, focus, and determination. Because once the table is set, success is served. Chapter 2, Plan Every Day in Advance. In Eat That Frog, Brian Tracy emphasizes that one of the greatest secrets of success and productivity lies in careful, deliberate planning. The second chapter, Plan Every Day in Advance, teaches that every minute spent planning can save 10 minutes of execution later. Tracy insists that successful people don't just work harder, they work smarter. And the smartest way to work is to know exactly what you are going to do before the day begins. Without a plan, it's easy to drift aimlessly, react to whatever demands your attention, and end up feeling busy but accomplishing very little. Tracy compares planning to creating a map before starting a journey. Without a map, you may wander in circles or head in the wrong direction. The act of planning helps you visualize your path, anticipate obstacles, and prioritize your most valuable tasks. It allows you to focus on what truly matters rather than getting lost in trivial activities that waste your time and energy. He often quotes the saying, "Every minute spent in planning saves 10 minutes in execution." This single habit, he argues, can dramatically improve your efficiency and sense of control over your life. He explains that the most effective way to plan is to sit down with a blank sheet of paper or a digital planner and list everything you need to accomplish. The simple act of writing down your goals and tasks gives them power. When they're written, they no longer float around as vague ideas, you can see them, review them, and act on them. Tracy recommends ending each day by making your to-do list for the next one. This means when you wake up, your mind already knows what you must tackle. There's no wasted morning energy deciding what to do, you simply start. Tracy also introduces the concept of the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle, in this chapter. This rule states that 20% of your tasks will account for 80% of your results. In other words, not all tasks are equal, some have exponentially higher value than others. Planning your day in advance helps you identify these high-value tasks and focus your energy on them first. By doing so, you ensure that your time is spent where it matters most, rather than being consumed by low-value activities that contribute little to your goals. One of Tracy's key practical suggestions is to organize your list using the ABCDE method. Here's how it works. A tasks are very important. If you don't do them, there will be serious consequences. B tasks are somewhat important but carry only mild consequences. C tasks are nice to do but have no real impact. D tasks can be delegated to others. E tasks should be eliminated altogether because they waste time. By labeling and prioritizing each task this way, you gain instant clarity about what deserves your attention. Your tasks are your frogs, the essential, often uncomfortable actions that drive real progress. Tracy also highlights the psychological benefits of planning. When you plan, you gain peace of mind. You feel organized, less stressed, and more confident. Each completed task provides a small burst of satisfaction, reinforcing your motivation and discipline. This sense of control is empowering. It transforms your approach to work from reactive to proactive. You start the day knowing what needs to be done, and you end the day knowing you've made tangible progress toward your larger goals. He points out that planning is not about perfection. Plans can change, and that's okay. The value of planning is not in predicting every detail but in setting a clear direction. Tracy compares it to steering a ship. Even if you need to adjust your course due to storms or currents, it's far better than drifting aimlessly. With a written plan, you can adapt intelligently while staying true to your overall vision. Ultimately, Chapter 2 drives home a simple but life-changing principle: successful days begin the night before. By taking just 10 to 15 minutes to plan your next day, you start every morning with purpose, focus, and direction. You waste less time deciding what to do and spend more time doing it. You reduce anxiety, increase your effectiveness, and take control of your schedule rather than letting your schedule control you. Tracy concludes this chapter by encouraging readers to make daily planning a habit. Keep a notebook, planner, or digital tool where you record your tasks, goals, and deadlines. Review it frequently and check off completed tasks for motivation. The more you practice this discipline, the more productive, confident, and goal-oriented you become. In short, planning every day in advance transforms your life. It turns chaos into clarity, confusion into confidence, and dreams into achievable steps. It is the foundation of personal efficiency and one of the most powerful tools for anyone who wants to stop procrastinating and start achieving. Chapter 3: Apply the 80-20 rule to everything. In this chapter of Eat That Frog, Brian Tracy introduces one of the most powerful ideas in time management and productivity, the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. It's a simple concept with world-changing implications. 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. Tracy emphasizes that if you truly understand and apply this rule to your life and work, you can double, triple, or even multiply your productivity many times over, without working harder, just smarter. He begins by explaining the origin of this principle. The Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto first observed in the 1890s that roughly 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the population. Later, he found this ratio existed in many other areas of life and economics. Business leaders, management thinkers, and psychologists have since confirmed that this uneven distribution shows up everywhere, from sales and profits to relationships and learning. A small portion of what you do contributes to the majority of your success. Tracy urges readers to pause and reflect on how this applies to their daily lives. Look at your task list. You might have 10 or 20 items, but only 1 or 2 of them are truly significant. These are your vital few. They are the high-impact activities that, when completed, bring you closer to your goals, improve your results, and create lasting value. The rest are trivial, many, small, easy, comfortable tasks that might keep you busy but add little real progress. The problem is that most people naturally gravitate toward the trivial many because they're easier, faster, and less stressful. They feel productive without being effective. Tracy explains that the difference between high performers and average ones isn't how much they do, it's what they do. Successful people identify their 20% tasks and focus on them relentlessly. They understand that the other 80%, while maybe urgent or noisy, are often distractions. He encourages you to ask yourself this powerful question throughout your day. Is this task in the top 20% of activities that produce 80% of my results, or is it in the bottom 80%? Once you ask this question honestly, you'll notice a shift in how you work. You start to see your time as precious and finite. You begin to eliminate, delegate, or defer tasks that don't align with your highest goals. You learn to say no more often, to protect your focus for what truly matters. Tracy gives examples of how the 80-20 rule plays out in real life. In sales, for instance, 20% of customers often account for 80% of revenue. In relationships, 20% of people you know contribute to 80% of your happiness and emotional energy. Even in learning, 20% of study materials or techniques give you 80% of the understanding. The pattern repeats itself everywhere. Your challenge is to recognize where it appears in your own work and personal life. He also introduces the concept of leverage. The 80-20 rule is essentially a form of leverage. It helps you identify where small, smart efforts create massive impact. Instead of trying to do everything, Tracy advises narrowing your focus. Find the 1 or 2 tasks that will move the needle the most, and put your best energy there. If you can discipline yourself to focus only on high-value activities, your productivity can skyrocket. Tracy reminds us that focusing on the vital few requires courage. It's easy to fall back into the comfort of doing low-value tasks, checking emails, attending unimportant meetings, or doing small errands, because they give a temporary feeling of accomplishment. But this is the trap of false productivity. Real success often comes from doing the hard, high-impact work that most people avoid, your biggest, ugliest frog. Chapter 4, Consider the Consequences. In Eat That Frog, Brian Tracy begins Chapter 4 with one of the most transformative insights about time management and personal effectiveness. The mark of the mature, high-performing individual is their ability to think long-term and consider the consequences of their actions before they act. Tracy argues that everything you do has consequences, both short-term and long-term, and that your ability to predict, evaluate, and act on those consequences determines the direction and quality of your life. He explains that most people live reactively, choosing what feels easiest, most comfortable, or most urgent in the moment. They make decisions based on immediate gratification, seeking short bursts of satisfaction at the expense of their larger goals. But the most successful individuals, the ones who achieve lasting success, financial independence, and deep satisfaction, operate differently. They discipline themselves to think ahead. They constantly ask, what will be the potential impact of this action, not just today, but in the weeks, months, or years to come? Tracy calls this ability long-term thinking. It is the key to making wise choices about where to invest your time, energy, and attention. He emphasizes that long-term thinkers always outperform short-term thinkers because they base their daily actions on their ultimate goals and values rather than fleeting emotions or impulses. They are willing to delay gratification today to enjoy greater rewards tomorrow. He connects this principle to a simple truth of human behavior: everything worthwhile requires trade-offs. If you choose to spend time on one thing, you are simultaneously deciding not to spend it on something else. Every decision has an opportunity cost. The key is to ensure that the things you say yes to bring the greatest long-term rewards. Tracy writes, thinking about the consequences of your actions, or lack of action, is the key to personal and professional success. To illustrate, he gives examples. Imagine you have 2 tasks on your desk. One is simple, fun, and can be done quickly, like replying to casual emails. The other is difficult, uncomfortable, but highly impactful, such as preparing a major presentation that could advance your career. The easy task provides immediate pleasure, while the difficult one carries long-term benefits. Most people instinctively choose the easy task, pushing off the harder one. But successful individuals reverse that instinct. They train themselves to prioritize tasks with greater long-term impact, even when they're challenging or unpleasant. Tracy introduces the concept of future orientation. This is the habit of constantly thinking about the future, where you want to be, what you want to achieve, and how today's choices will move you closer or farther from that vision. He explains that your mind has an incredible capacity to imagine future scenarios and outcomes. The more vividly you can picture your desired future, the more motivated you become to make the right decisions today. He offers a simple mental exercise. Before starting any task, ask yourself 3 key questions. 1. What are the potential consequences of doing this task? 2. What are the potential consequences of not doing this task? 3. Will this action bring me closer to or farther from my most important goals? These questions cut through distractions and force you to focus on what truly matters. They help you identify which tasks have the greatest long-term payoff, your biggest frogs, and which tasks are merely time fillers. Tracy further expands on this by explaining that success and failure are not random, they are the cumulative result of decisions made over time. Every action either compounds into future success or erodes it. Small, positive actions, consistently repeated, can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Conversely, small negative actions, procrastination, distraction, poor time choices, compound into regret and mediocrity. The law of cause and effect is always in motion, whether you're aware of it or not. He introduces another related idea called the law of forced efficiency. It states, there is never enough time to do everything, but there is always enough time to do the most important thing. In other words, you can't do it all, and that's okay. The challenge is to choose wisely. When you consider consequences carefully, you naturally start focusing on the few actions that deliver the biggest impact. Tracy highlights that this way of thinking doesn't just improve productivity, it transforms your mindset. You begin to see time as your most valuable asset. Every minute wasted is a minute gone forever. The people who achieve the most in life treat their time like gold, investing it where it multiplies rather than where it evaporates. When you evaluate your actions by their long-term effects, you stop wasting time on trivial distractions. He gives practical advice for cultivating long-term thinking. First, write down your major goals: career, financial, personal, and health. Then, whenever you face a decision, compare it to these goals. Ask yourself, does this choice align with my future vision? If it doesn't, resist it. Over time, this discipline becomes automatic. You start making better decisions effortlessly because you've trained your brain to weigh the future over the present. Tracy also notes that this mindset brings emotional benefits. People who think long-term experience less stress and guilt because they live with purpose and direction. They no longer feel torn between what's urgent and what's important, they know what matters most. This clarity creates inner peace, confidence, and motivation. He contrasts this with the behavior of short-term thinkers. They chase easy wins, avoid discomfort, and often fall into patterns of procrastination. They might appear busy, but they're busy with low-value tasks that bring no lasting rewards. Eventually, they pay the price: missed opportunities, stagnation, and frustration. The difference between success and struggle often comes down to which timeline you prioritize, the moment or the future. Tracy emphasizes that even small shifts in perspective can yield massive results. For instance, exercising for 30 minutes today may not feel urgent, but its long-term consequence, better health, energy, and confidence, is profound. Reading or learning daily may seem like a minor habit, but over months and years, it compounds into expertise. The same applies to your finances, career, and relationships. Every meaningful area of life grows stronger when you act with the long-term view in mind. Toward the end of the chapter, Tracy offers a profound reminder: the quality of your future is determined by the quality of your present decisions. Every time you choose to eat your biggest frog, to do the hard, meaningful work instead of the easy, trivial task, you shape a better future for yourself. Your destiny is built moment by moment, choice by choice. He concludes chapter 4 with a challenge: from this day forward, make it a habit to pause before every significant action and ask, what are the long-term consequences of this? Let that question guide your decisions. It will sharpen your focus, strengthen your discipline, and lead you to far greater success than you ever imagined. The ultimate lesson of this chapter is simple yet powerful: successful people think ahead. They see beyond the moment, make decisions based on lasting value, and live by the principle of long-term reward over short-term pleasure. If you can train your mind to think this way consistently, you'll gain not just productivity, but mastery over your own future. Chapter 5: Practice Creative Procrastination. In Eat That Frog, Brian Tracy opens chapter 5 with a powerful truth: you can't do everything. There's simply not enough time in one lifetime to handle every task, project, or opportunity that comes your way. Every single day, you're forced to make choices, consciously or unconsciously, about what to do and what to delay. The secret, Tracy says, is not to avoid procrastination altogether, but to master it. Successful people don't eliminate procrastination, they practice what he calls creative procrastination. Creative procrastination means deliberately deciding what not to do. It's the art of putting off, ignoring, or abandoning the low-value, time-wasting activities that don't meaningfully contribute to your goals. Instead of feeling guilty about procrastination, Tracy reframes it as a positive, strategic decision. The truth is, since you can't do everything, you might as well procrastinate on the things that matter least. He begins by acknowledging the universal tendency to procrastinate on hard or unpleasant tasks, the ones that feel uncomfortable, uncertain, or challenging. These are usually your most important frogs, the high-impact activities that bring the greatest results. Meanwhile, people often find themselves doing the small, easy, enjoyable things, the low-priority tasks, because they offer immediate satisfaction. This behavior is what traps many people in cycles of busyness without achievement. But Tracy invites you to flip the script. Instead of passively procrastinating on the things that matter most, he urges you to actively and deliberately procrastinate on the things that matter least. This requires courage, awareness, and self-discipline. You must be willing to say no, not just to others, but to yourself, when tempted by trivial distractions or time wasters. He reminds readers that everything in life has an opportunity cost. Whenever you say yes to one activity, you're saying no to everything else you could be doing with that same time. The question becomes, are you saying yes to what truly matters, or to what's merely convenient? Successful people understand this trade-off instinctively. They focus their time and energy on a few high-value activities that drive success and fulfillment, while letting go of everything else. Tracy gives practical examples of how to apply this mindset. Start by making a list of all the tasks and commitments in your life. Then, identify the ones that are of low or no value, the activities that don't move you closer to your goals. These might include unnecessary meetings, idle social media scrolling, excessive TV watching, or busy work that feels productive but achieves little. Once you've identified them, choose to procrastinate on those tasks, indefinitely. He calls this zero-based thinking. Ask yourself, if I weren't doing this already, knowing what I know now, would I start doing it today? If the answer is no, that's a clear sign to drop, delegate, or delay that activity. This single question helps you cut through emotional attachments and habitual behaviors that waste your time. Tracy also explores the emotional side of procrastination. Many people feel overwhelmed because they try to please everyone, take on too much, or struggle to say no. But he argues that saying no is not selfish, it's essential for success. Every no to a low-value task is a yes to something far more meaningful, your growth, your goals, your purpose. Creative procrastination is an act of self-respect, it's how you protect your time from being stolen by the unimportant. He explains that great achievers are not necessarily busier than others, they're simply more selective. They consciously decide what not to do. They understand that time is life, and wasting time is wasting opportunity. By procrastinating on trivial things, they create space for deep, meaningful work. Tracy ends the chapter with a powerful reflection: success is not about doing more, but about doing less, better. Every day, you must choose your frogs wisely. When you choose to procrastinate on the low-value 80% of your tasks, you free yourself to focus on the vital 20% that truly matter. In short, creative procrastination is the skill of choosing your battles wisely. Don't try to do it all. Instead, make peace with the fact that some things will remain undone, and ensure that those are the least important things in your life. Chapter 6, Use the ABCDE method continually. In Chapter 6, Brian Tracy introduces one of his most practical and transformative tools for prioritization, the ABCDE method. This simple but powerful system helps you bring order to your daily chaos and ensures that your focus always remains on the tasks that matter most. He begins by reinforcing the fundamental idea of productivity: not all tasks are equal. Some are crucial to your success and happiness, while others are merely distractions disguised as work. Without a clear system to distinguish between the two, it's easy to lose sight of your true priorities. The ABCDE method solves this problem by giving every task a label, a visible reminder of its importance. Here's how it works. Tasks are your must-do activities, the vital few that have serious consequences if left undone. These are your frogs. Failing to complete an A task could cost you your job, your reputation, or a key opportunity. They represent the 20% of tasks that create 80% of your results. B tasks are important but not critical. They have mild consequences, someone might be disappointed, or a deadline might be delayed, but the world won't fall apart. C tasks are nice to do but have no real consequences. They might include chatting with coworkers, browsing the internet, or organizing files. They make you feel productive without actually moving the needle. D tasks are those you can and should delegate. Someone else can handle them, freeing you to focus on high-impact work. E tasks are the ones you should eliminate altogether. They add no value and consume your time. Once you've labeled your list, Tracy advises you to focus all your energy on your A tasks first. If you have multiple A tasks, assign them priorities like A1, A2, A3, and so on. Begin with the most important one, your A1 frog, and stay with it until it's complete. Tracy stresses that this method works because it forces you to think about the consequences of each task, echoing the lesson from Chapter 4. When you evaluate tasks based on their outcomes rather than their urgency or comfort, you gain clarity about what truly deserves your attention. The ABCDE method becomes a daily exercise in decision-making and discipline. He encourages readers to use this system not just occasionally but continually. Every evening, before going to bed, make a list of everything you plan to do the next day. Then apply the ABCDE labels. By doing this, you'll wake up with absolute clarity about what to tackle first. You won't waste energy deciding where to start, you'll simply act. Tracy also highlights how this method trains your brain. Over time, you begin to naturally think in terms of priorities and consequences. You stop reacting to every new email or message and start managing your day strategically. You become proactive rather than reactive, and that's the hallmark of high performance. He gives an example. Imagine you have 10 tasks on your list. According to the ABCDE principle, only 1 or 2 will have the most impact on your life or career. These are your A tasks, your frogs. The rest are supporting details. If you discipline yourself to start your day with your A1 task, your productivity can soar. Tracy reminds readers that the ability to prioritize is a mental muscle, it grows stronger with use. Each day that you apply the ABCDE method, you strengthen your focus, willpower, and decision-making ability. You also build confidence, because every time you complete an A task, you feel a sense of accomplishment and control. He points out an important psychological benefit: working on high-value tasks gives you energy. Low-value tasks, on the other hand, drain it. When you focus on what truly matters, your motivation rises, your stress decreases, and your results compound. Finally, Tracy connects the ABCDE method back to the central theme of Eat That Frog: you can only do one thing at a time, so choose wisely. Every day presents a choice between what is vital and what is trivial. The ABCDE method is your compass, a daily system to ensure you're climbing the right mountain, not just moving faster on the wrong one. He ends the chapter with this reminder: your ability to select your most important task, begin on it, and then concentrate on it single-mindedly until it is complete is the key to high performance and personal productivity. The takeaway from Chapter 6 is simple yet transformative: use the ABCDE method every day, without fail. It's not just a productivity trick, it's a mindset, a discipline, a lifelong habit that will guide you toward your biggest goals and highest achievements. Chapter 7, Focus on Key Result Areas. In every role, personal or professional, there are key result areas, KRAs, that determine your success. These are the few things you absolutely must do well to perform effectively. For example, a manager's key areas may include planning, organizing, motivating, and communicating. A salesperson's might be prospecting, presenting, and closing. Tracy urges you to identify your own KRAs and evaluate yourself honestly in each. Weakness in any key result area limits your entire performance, just as a weak link weakens a chain. Once you identify where you're underperforming, focus on improving that skill. Continuous learning and self-improvement in your KRAs compound over time into exceptional success. The message is simple: know what truly matters in your role, and master it. Chapter 8, Apply the Law of Three. Brian Tracy introduces the Law of Three, the idea that only 3 tasks you perform account for the majority of your value and success. Out of everything you do, these 3 activities produce the greatest results. To find them, write down all your daily tasks, then ask. 1. If I could do only one task all day, which one would have the greatest impact? 2. If I could do 2. 3. If I could do 3. Once you identify your top 3, invest the majority of your time and energy there. Everything else should be minimized, delegated, or scheduled later. The Law of Three simplifies your life and multiplies your effectiveness. It's about focusing deeply on what you do best, the tasks that make you irreplaceable and deliver the most value. Chapter 9, Prepare thoroughly before you begin. Preparation builds confidence. Every minute you spend getting ready saves time later. Tracy insists that before starting a major task, gather everything you'll need: tools, materials, information, and a clear workspace. Starting without preparation leads to interruptions, frustration, and wasted time. But when you're fully prepared, you create momentum, you can dive straight in and maintain focus. Preparation also applies mentally. Visualize the task steps, anticipate obstacles, and plan solutions in advance. When your mind and environment are ready, procrastination loses its hold. As Tracy says, successful people don't start fast, they start prepared. Chapter 10, Take it one oil barrel at a time. In this final section of Part 1, Tracy shares a simple yet profound metaphor. When crossing the Sahara Desert, travelers follow oil barrels placed at intervals along the route, focusing only on reaching the next one, not the distant horizon. Likewise, big goals can feel overwhelming if you focus on the finish line. The secret is to concentrate on the next step, the immediate action in front of you. Progress, not perfection, builds success. By breaking large projects into smaller, manageable pieces, you maintain motivation and avoid paralysis. Each completed step gives you momentum for the next. Eventually, those small victories carry you across the entire desert. Chapter 11, Upgrade your key skills. Brian Tracy reminds us that the world belongs to those who never stop learning. The fastest way to achieve more, earn more, and grow faster is simple: upgrade your key skills. No matter what you do, there are certain abilities that determine how effective you are: your income-producing or success-producing skills. For a writer, it's communication; for a leader, it's decision-making; for a salesperson, it's persuasion. The more competent you become in your field, the more confident and motivated you feel to take on your frogs. Tracy explains that many people procrastinate because they don't feel fully capable. Fear of failure or inadequacy holds them back. The cure: lifelong learning. Read books, attend seminars, take courses, watch tutorials, and most importantly, practice deliberately. Even a small improvement in your key skills can lead to a massive improvement in your results. Tracy calls this the law of incremental improvement. Just learning one new technique or strategy can save you hours, increase your income, or multiply your output. He emphasizes that continuous learning isn't a luxury anymore, it's survival. The world is changing too fast for complacency. You must make personal development a daily discipline. Learn something new every single day, and over time, you'll become unstoppable. The more you learn, the less you fear. And the less you fear, the faster you act. Chapter 12, Leverage your special talents. Everyone has a unique combination of skills, experiences, and interests that no one else on earth possesses. Tracy calls these your special talents, your natural gifts, the things you do better, faster, or more enjoyably than others. In this chapter, he urges you to identify what you're naturally good at and build your life around it. Ask yourself, what do I enjoy doing that comes easily to me? What have I been praised for? Where do I perform best? When you work in alignment with your strengths, time disappears, you enter a state of flow. You produce higher quality results, feel more fulfilled, and gain energy rather than lose it. Tracy reminds us that no one succeeds by trying to be average at everything. Real success comes from focusing on what you do exceptionally well and delegating or eliminating the rest. He uses the analogy of a river. Your natural talents are like the current. Swim with it, and you move quickly and effortlessly. Swim against it, and you exhaust yourself. Leverage your unique strengths. Combine your natural abilities with deliberate practice, and you'll achieve exponential results. Your greatest successes lie where your passion meets your competence. Chapter 13, Identify your key constraints. Every goal, no matter how big or small, is limited by something, a constraint, a bottleneck that slows you down. Tracy says that success comes from identifying that constraint and removing it. He encourages you to ask, what's holding me back from achieving my most important goal? Is it a lack of skill, a lack of resource, a fear, a habit, or a person? Once you identify it, focus all your energy on removing or improving it. Tracy explains that in most cases, the biggest constraint isn't external, it's internal. It's your mindset, your discipline, or your confidence. The key to rapid progress is self-honesty, looking in the mirror and acknowledging what's truly slowing you down. When you find the single limiting factor and focus on it, you unleash a wave of progress. Removing one obstacle often unlocks everything else. As he says, the weakest key part of the chain determines the strength of the whole. Don't ignore your bottlenecks, face them head-on. The faster you deal with your constraints, the faster you grow. Chapter 14, Put the pressure on yourself. Most people wait for external motivation, a deadline, a boss, or a crisis, to push them into action. But Tracy teaches that the most successful people create internal pressure. They set their own standards and hold themselves accountable even when no one is watching. When you rely on external pressure, you surrender control. But when you develop self-discipline, you become the source of your own drive. Tracy says, winners don't need supervision, they motivate themselves. He suggests pretending that you're being watched or timed, that someone important is measuring your performance. This mental trick triggers focus and urgency. Self-imposed deadlines are powerful. They create structure and energy. When you set challenging but realistic targets, you naturally move faster, think sharper, and push yourself beyond comfort. The key is to be your own boss. Don't wait for someone else to demand excellence, demand it from yourself. Greatness begins when you hold yourself to higher standards than anyone else ever will. Chapter 15, Maximize your personal powers. Success isn't only about time management, it's about energy management. In this chapter, Tracy teaches that productivity depends on how well you manage your physical, mental, and emotional energy. You are not a machine. You perform best when you're well-rested, healthy, and emotionally balanced. Fatigue, stress, poor nutrition, or lack of sleep can double the time it takes to finish even a simple task. He recommends paying close attention to your body's rhythms. Work on high-value tasks when your energy is at its peak. For most people, this is in the morning. Take regular breaks. Eat nutritious food. Exercise daily. And most importantly, learn to rest without guilt. Mental health matters too. Negative emotions drain your energy. Cultivate gratitude, optimism, and calm. The more peaceful your mind, the sharper your focus. Tracy's message is clear: treat yourself like a high-performance athlete. Your mind and body are your greatest assets. Guard them, fuel them, and keep them strong, because your energy determines your excellence. Chapter 16, Motivate yourself into action. Motivation doesn't come before action, it comes after you start. Tracy emphasizes that one of the greatest secrets of success is learning to generate your own motivation through consistent action. Positive emotions like confidence, enthusiasm, and courage are side effects of doing the right things, not waiting to feel ready. The key is to take the first step, no matter how small. Momentum creates motivation. He also reminds you to guard your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself positively. Replace "I can't" with "I can." Replace "I'll try" with "I will." You become what you say to yourself. Visualization is another powerful tool. Picture yourself succeeding, finishing the task, and feeling proud of the result. The brain responds to imagination as if it were real, boosting confidence and readiness. Motivation is not magic, it's motion. When you act despite resistance, you awaken inner strength. The secret is simple: start now, and your energy will catch up. Chapter 17, Get out of the technological time sinks. Technology can be both a blessing and a curse. In this digital age, distractions are everywhere: notifications, emails, social media, endless scrolling. Tracy warns that these technological time sinks can destroy focus and waste hours every day. He encourages you to take back control. Turn off non-essential notifications, schedule specific times to check messages, and keep your phone away during deep work. Technology should serve you, not enslave you. He introduces the idea of digital discipline, using tools consciously, not compulsively. Remember that every beep, buzz, or vibration breaks your concentration and steals valuable mental energy. Use technology as a tool for leverage, not entertainment. Automate, delegate, and streamline your digital life. Your focus is your most valuable resource, protect it fiercely. As Tracy says, control your devices, don't let them control you. Chapter 18, Slice and dice the task. Sometimes, we procrastinate because a task feels too big. It overwhelms us. In this chapter, Tracy introduces a powerful technique called salami slicing. Just as you eat a salami one slice at a time, you can tackle a huge project by breaking it into small, manageable steps. Each step is easy, but together they lead to enormous progress. Another variation is the Swiss cheese method, poking holes of progress in a large task by working on small parts whenever you can. Even 10 minutes of focused effort counts. The secret is to lower resistance. When you commit to doing just one small piece, you bypass fear and perfectionism. Once you start, momentum takes over. Big goals are intimidating, small steps are empowering. Slice it, start it, and soon the impossible becomes inevitable. Chapter 19, Create large chunks of time. Deep work requires uninterrupted time blocks. Tracy teaches that to produce meaningful results, you must create long stretches of focused work without distractions. Multitasking, he warns, is a myth. It only divides attention and lowers quality. The best performers schedule specific, power hours, where they work intensely on their most important tasks. He suggests planning your day around these time chunks. Turn off your phone, close emails, and set clear boundaries. Inform others that you're unavailable during this period. When you immerse yourself in one task for a long time, your brain reaches a state of flow, a peak state of creativity and performance. This is where real progress happens. Protect your time fiercely. Treat it as sacred. Every uninterrupted hour invested in your top goals brings you closer to mastery. Chapter 20, Develop a sense of urgency. Winners move fast. Tracy explains that a sense of urgency is the distinguishing trait of high achievers. It's the inner drive that pushes you to take immediate action without delay. While average people wait for the perfect time, successful people act, and correct course as they go. They know that progress beats perfection. You develop urgency by building momentum. Start something and keep moving. Train yourself to say, "Do it now." The faster you move, the more energy you generate, and the more opportunities you attract. Tracy calls this inner drive for action, the habit that transforms your productivity forever. When you operate with urgency, you outpace hesitation, doubt, and fear. You become unstoppable. Speed is power, and the habit of moving fast creates the rhythm of success. Chapter 21, single-handle every task. The final chapter delivers Tracy's ultimate productivity principle: once you begin your most important task, stay with it until it's 100% complete. Don't multitask. Don't jump between activities. Don't check your phone or email. Single-handling means total immersion, working on one frog until it's eaten. Tracy explains that switching tasks repeatedly drains energy and focus. Each interruption can double the time it takes to finish a project. But when you commit fully, you enter a flow state where time disappears and performance soars. Every time you finish something important, your confidence grows. You train your brain to associate completion with pleasure, making you more productive over time. He closes with this timeless message: your ability to select your most important task, start it, and finish it completely, that alone will double or triple your productivity, and transform your life. Conclusion: the courage to eat your frog every day. As we reach the end of Eat That Frog, one truth becomes clear: time is life itself. How we spend our hours determines the quality of our days, and the direction of our future. Every moment we delay the important work we're meant to do, we trade a piece of our potential for temporary comfort. But every time we take action, every time we face our frog head-on, we take back control of our destiny. Brian Tracy's message is not about being busy, or filling every hour with activity. It's about living with purpose. It's about learning to distinguish between what is urgent and what is truly important. Between the noise that demands our attention and the quiet goals that define who we become. True success isn't found in multitasking, it's in clarity, courage, and consistency. The habits you've learned through these 21 timeless principles, setting clear goals, planning ahead, focusing on key results, managing priorities, and tackling the hardest task first, are not just productivity tools. They are life principles. They train your mind to think long-term, to value progress over perfection, and to act even when you don't feel ready. Because here's the secret: no one ever feels completely ready. Great achievements are not born out of comfort, they come from the courage to take the first step, again and again. The moment you choose to act, even when you're uncertain, is the moment you grow. When you wake up tomorrow, there will be another frog waiting. It might be a conversation you've been avoiding, a project you've been delaying, or a dream you've been postponing for years. Whatever it is, face it. Take a deep breath. Begin with focus and faith. Because when you eat your frog first, you set the tone for everything that follows. Let this book be more than something you've read, let it be something you live. Let each morning remind you that your time is precious, your goals are possible, and your future is shaped by the choices you make today. So don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't let another day slip by. Pick your biggest frog, and eat it. Because once you do, you'll realize that the hardest part was never the work itself, it was waiting to begin.